Depends, he shrugged. Could be half an hour, could be a few days. You can leave your number and I'll wait, she blurted. His brows rose. Like you said, it might be an easy fix. 2 days ago, an anonymous tip had come in about the increase of high-end car theft. The precinct knew there was a ring working somewhere in the city, but there hadn't been a lead since someone had died last year, a man called Marcel, who had had a shady history with the law. After that, reports on stolen cars had diminished for a while, but in the last 2 months, there'd been a steady increase. Anonymous tips were usually made by ex-lovers looking for revenge, but when she'd looked into the Larson brothers' backgrounds, there were definitely some red flags. The fact that they moved every year or two was suspicious. Of course, there were always other reasons. If she could get a conversation going, she could push for information and a reasonable explanation. Being a detective was a lot about intuition. Once she got a good read on the guy, she'd dig for proof to back it up. A door behind the desk opened, and a large figure filled the entire doorway. She craned her neck to see his face. Her initial impression was height and muscle and danger. His expression was friendly, but it was hard to tell if it stayed that way long. This had to be Atlas Larson, and he was a huge motherfucker. Sure, she'd read the brief description they had on file, but none of that prepared her for a man who was built like he beat the shit out of people for a living and dragged women off by the hair as a hobby. This bastard had criminal written all over him. It wasn't proof, of course, but it was a good start. Mila wasn't intimidated by much, but this guy made her want to reach for her gun just to reassure herself it was there. Years of keeping pace with the guys on the police force had hardened her, but it took a few seconds to compose herself. There were no reports saying these guys were violent, but even though she was good at hand-to-hand, she didn't think she'd get far with this Neanderthal. "What have I told you about the baseball cap?" he asked Austin as he walked behind the counter. Before the kid could move, Larson had flicked the hat off his head. Austin scrambled to catch it, then tossed it under the counter. "Sorry." "Mm-hmm." He arched a brow at his employee, but his mouth quirked at the corner, with fond familiarity. "Family, maybe?" "Is Austin figuring things out for you?" "Yeah," Mila said, trying to sound more casual than she felt. Then again, he had to be used to women getting flustered around him. "It's an old laptop, so I don't know if he'll be able to save it for me." Atlas looked over the kid's shoulder and then at Mila. "If we can't fix it, we can probably retrieve the information off of it. Ms. "Oh, Mila. It's Mila Tanner." She could feel her cheeks heating, and she wished she could plant a fist in what looked to be his very hard torso. Okay, so her feeling flustered wasn't his fault, but that didn't mean she wasn't going to blame him. "Mila," he repeated. A lazy grin spread across his face, and it made her shiver. A man this built shouldn't be hot, too. By all rights, he should have looked as if someone had taken a shovel repeatedly to his face. Instead, he was all stubborn jaw, strong cheekbones, and hard blue eyes. And damn it, he was blond. The man needed to be licked. A lot. But not by her. She was a cop, and not at all attracted to possible criminals. But wow. Yeah. He was looking at her the way men sometimes did if they were interested. She braced herself for the standard lame pickup lines, but he only pulled the laptop closer and waved Austin away. "I'll do this. You go clean the break room." Austin shrugged and wandered into the back, his phone in his hand before he'd gone 2 steps. The break room was probably going to have to clean itself. Atlas dragged the stool closer and sat, then motioned for Mila to take the stool on the other side of the counter, which she did. The longer she could keep the man talking, the more she could learn about him. "Like I was saying, I can get the information off of it, but I'm not sure I can get it running reliably again." His lips pressed together, and Mila did her best to stop checking him out.